Let's move on to item number 11. How many odd numbers are there between 18 and 114? Did you go for A, B, C, or D? So odd numbers, in this case, have a common difference of 2. So again, in this case, they still form an arithmetic sequence. And the first term, and the numbers that we're looking for, by the way, start from 19 and all the way until 113. So you could see that the first term is 19. The common difference is positive 2 because the sequence is increasing. And 113, let's indicate this as our A sub n for now because it's our last term. So from here, we will utilize this arithmetic sequence formula, and we will replace the A sub n as this last term here, which is 113, equals the first term, which is 19, plus n minus 1 times the d, which is 2. So our goal here is to solve for n, which is the number of terms. So subtracting both sides by 19, the left side will become 113 minus 19, or simply 94. And that's equal to the product of n minus 1 and 2. Dividing both sides of the equation by 2, 94 divided by 2 will give you 47, equals n minus 1. Add 1 both sides, and you will get the value of n, which is 48. Hence, there are from 19, 21, 23, all the way until 113, there are 48 odd numbers, letter C. Okay, number 12. If x plus 6, 2x plus 1, 4x minus 13 are the first 3 terms of an arithmetic sequence, find x. Did you go for 9, 10, 11, or 12? So always remember this. If you are given the first 3 terms of an arithmetic sequence, then remember that twice the middle number, or 2a sub 2, is equal to the sum of the first and the third term, which is a sub 1 plus a sub 3. And from the given, the second term is 2x plus 1. So you have twice of 2x plus 1 equals the sum of the first and the third term, which are x plus 6 and 4x minus 13 respectively. Multiplying the left side, you will have 4x plus 2. And simplifying the right-hand side, so x plus 4x will be 5x. 6 plus negative 13 will be negative 7. And what I did next was I subtracted both sides by 5x. So I have 4x minus 5x on the left side. And on the right side, this plus 2 here, by the way, will become minus 2 on the left-hand side. So negative 7 minus 2 there. And you will have the left side will simplify to negative x equals negative 9, dividing both sides by negative 1, and you will get the value of x, which is 9. Hence, letter A is the correct answer here. And I'm sure that 9 will make these 3 terms mentioned of the first 3 terms of an arithmetic sequence. Number 13. Find S sub 8 of the arithmetic sequence 4, 12, 20, and so on. Is it 232, 240, 248, or 256? S sub 8 here indicates the sum of the first 8 terms of our arithmetic sequence here. And I hope that you could see that our n here is 8 because that's the subscript. So the number of terms is 8. Your first term is 4, and the common difference is 8, by the way. And recall that the formula for the sum of the first n terms of an arithmetic series is n over 2 times 2a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times t. I utilized this longer version, this formula, because we know the value of the common difference, which is 8. So with such, by substitution, you will have S sub 8 equals 8 over 2 times the quantity 2 times 4 plus 8 minus 1 times 8. The 8 over 2 simplifies to 4. The 2 times 4 is 8. This will become 7 times 8 will be 56. If you add 8 and 56, that will give you 64. And hence, the sum of the first 8 terms will be 4 times 64 or 256. So D is the correct answer. 14. Find the summation of 3n plus 1 as n goes from 1 to 8. Did you go for 112, 116, 120, or 124? Which do you think is the correct answer? So for this one, there are many ways of doing this. If you, in this case, you will be getting the sum of the first 8 terms because you're going from 1 to 8. So if n is 1, the first term will be, you will substitute it here, 3 times 1 plus 1, that's 4. If you have the second term, if n is 2, it will be 3 times 2, that's 6 plus 1, which will be 7. If the third, for the third term, let n be equal to 3, and you will have 3 times 3 plus 1, which is 9 plus 1 or 10. And so on until the 8th term. So you will have 3 times 8, that's 24 plus 1 or 25. Now, and if you could see here, you will have 4, 7, 10, and so on until 25. And you could see that this is, it's forming the terms of an arithmetic sequence. And therefore, if you will take the summation of this, it is just actually the sum of 4, 7, 10 until 25. And we have another formula for the sum of the terms of an arithmetic series, of the finite terms of an arithmetic series. And that is S sub n equals n over 2 multiplied by the sum of a sub 1 and a sub n. This formula is useful especially if you know the first and the last terms of your arithmetic series. So we know the first term is 4, the last term is 25, and your n is 8. So by substitution, you will have 8 over 2 multiplied by the sum of 4 and 25. 8 over 2 is 4. 4 plus 25 is 29. So you will have 4 times 29, and this means that the sum of the first 8 terms of your arithmetic series here is 116, letter B. All right, so far so good. Number 15. What is true of the terms of a geometric sequence with first term less than -1 and the common ratio greater than 1? Is it the terms are increasing, the terms are decreasing, the signs of terms are alternating, or the terms are decreasing and have alternating signs? What do you think is correct? For sure, letter D is wrong. Because if they are alternating in terms of signs, then it becomes smaller, bigger, and vice versa, or the other way around as well. So we have to choose either A, B, or C, or maybe, is it possible to be not in, that the correct answer is not among the choices? Let's see. From here, example of this sequence, so I let my first term to be -1, -2, because anyway, -2 is less than -1. I let my common ratio be +2 because in this case, it's greater than 1. So I have here this example, -2, -4, -8, -16, and so on. If you could see, the terms are increasing? No. The terms are in fact decreasing. And that is letter B. The terms also are not alternating because in this case, they are all negative. So B is the correct answer here. 16. If 2x, 5x minus 2, 20x minus 24 form a geometric progression. Progression is, by the way, another term for sequence. Find all value or values of x. Is it 210, 28, 27, or 25? What do you think? From here, remember this. If you are given the first three terms of a geometric series, then remember that the square of the middle term is always equal to the product of the first and the third term. Assuming that no term is zero here, by the way, and assuming that it's better to have terms that are not all equal at the same number, better. But this is in fact true for a geometric sequence in general. So the middle term is 5x minus 2, and the square of that is equal to the product of the first and the third term. That's why you have 2x times 20x minus 24 on the right-hand side. So from here, squaring the 5x minus 2, you square the first term, so 25x squared, twice the product of the first and the second term, so 5x times negative 2, that's negative 10x, times 2, that's negative 20x, plus the square of negative 2, which is 4, equals the product of this, just use the distributive property. You have 4x squared, and 2x times negative 24 will be negative 48x. Next, what I did was I subtracted 40x squared minus 488x, both sides of the equation, and I arrived to negative 15x squared plus 28x plus 4 equals 0. To make the leading coefficient positive, what I did was I multiplied each term by negative 1. Hence, I have 15x squared minus 28x plus 4 equals 0. This problem could be solved using factoring. The given trinomial could be factored as 15x plus 2 times the quantity x minus 2 equals 0. And by the zero property of multiplication, what we have to do next is that we will equate each of these factors to 0. So if 15x plus 2 is equal to 0, that means that you will have negative 2/15. And if x minus 2 is equal to 0, that means that x could be 2. So there are two values of x. But we have to check if each of this will satisfy the original equation or the condition to have a geometric sequence. So case 1, if x is negative 2/15, upon substitution, the first term will be negative 4/15. The second term will be negative 8/3, and the third term will be negative 80/3. If you get the common ratio, you will divide the second term by the first or the third term by the second, and you will see that the radius, or the common ratio here is 10. So therefore, x equals negative 2/15 makes this a geometric sequence. How about if x is 2? If x is 2, and by substitution to the three terms, you will have 4, 8, 16, which is again another geometric sequence because it has a common ratio of 2. Hence, there are two possible values of x for you to arrive to these three terms as the terms of your arithmetic sequence. So the correct answer here is letter E. It's not one of those choices. Okay. Number 17. I hope you got this right. Find a sub 1 of a geometric sequence if the fourth term is 360 and if the radius, or the common ratio is 3. Be careful if you're talking about geometric sequence, the R is understood to be the common ratio. Is the first term 7, 8, 9, or 10? From here, I hope you could still recall the formula for a geometric sequence. In this case, we're talking about sum rather, sorry. So we're talking about S of n. So S of n is equal to the first term multiplied by the difference of 1 and r to the n all over 1 minus r, where the value of your r here is not equal to 1, or else you will have an undefined expression. So knowing that the sum is 360, so S of n will be 360. But before that, I replaced n with 4. So I have S sub 4 equals A sub 1 times the quantity 1 minus 3, your common ratio, to the fourth all over 1 minus 3. But your fourth term is 360. So you have 360 here equals the first term multiplied by 1 minus this one, 1 minus 81, all over 1 minus 3, or negative 2. The 1 minus 81 simplifies to negative 80. The negative 80 divided by negative 2 will give you 40. Hence, I have 360 divided by 40 A sub 1, and that dividing both sides by 40 rather, sorry, then you will get a value of 9 as A sub 1. Hence, letter C is the correct answer here. Okay, so far so good. 18. Find the sum of 3 plus 2 plus 4 thirds plus 8 ninths plus and so on. Is it 7, 8, 9, or 10? You could see from here that the terms are decreasing in terms of absolute value, and that the absolute value of your common ratio is what? Is 2/3, right? How come it's 2/3? Because if you divide the second by the third, by the first rather, 2 divided by 3, 2/3. 4 thirds divided by 2 will be 2/3. 8 ninths divided by 4 thirds will be 2/3. So this is an infinite geometric series. And since the common ratio has an absolute value less than 1, we could actually utilize the formula for the sum of the infinite number of terms of a geometric sequence with a common ratio whose absolute value is less than 1. And that is, we can see that A sub 1 is 3 and R is 2/3. And the formula here is S sub infinity, or the sum of the infinite number of terms, equals the first term A sub 1 all over 1 minus R. So from here, by substitution, you will have S sub infinity equals 3 all over 1 minus 2/3. But your 1 minus 2/3 will become 1 minus 1 minus 2/3 will become 1/3, and that it will become 3 divided by 1/3. If you are dividing by 1/3, you are multiplying with its reciprocal, which is 3. Hence, you will have S sub infinity equals 3 times 3, and that is letter C, 9. 19. I ordered X identical books, each costing 300 pesos each. If the shipping fee is 500 pesos, regardless of the number of blocks of books ordered, how much will be paid in Philippine pesos for all the books ordered? Did you go for A, B, C, or D? Which is which? And the correct answer here is letter A. How come letter A? Because for every book that you ordered, you will pay 300. That's why 300x represents the total amount you have to pay for the 300. But you still have to pay for the shipping fee regardless of the number of books you ordered. So plus 500. So A here, my friends, is the correct answer. Number 20. He is regarded as the father of set theory. Is he Richard Dedekind, Leonard Euler, Carl Gauss, or George Cantor? The correct answer here is, we'll see, it's not Richard Dedekind actually. But Richard Dedekind made important contributions to number theories, abstract algebra, and the axiomatic foundations of arithmetic. So he is famously known for his Dedekind cut, which is used in real analysis. Leonard Euler is not as well the answer, but he founded the studies of graph theory and topology. How about letter C, Carl Gauss? In fact, it is still not him, but he is regarded as one of the greatest mathematicians of all time. So A, B, and C are wrong. So this tells us that D is the correct answer here. George Cantor is regarded as the father of set theory. Okay, so far so good.